GM lads,
GM lads.
GM crazy guys. Apparently. I think it's Taiki's outfit. That's why we got the comment.
It's not an outfit. It's a lifestyle. Always be farming.
You're just wearing this the whole conference? Or?
Yeah. I've been sweating my balls off, honestly,
okay.
the past couple of days.
Do you have two sets of overalls or just one?
One set of overalls, like 10 white shirts.
Okay.
They recycle through them, yeah.
Just one hat, or
just one hat? Just
okay,
one hat, yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
So how's farming going lately? I've been seeing you getting rugged by Lord Miles on the poly market.
Yeah, I'm trying to farm the poly market airdrop because I'm pretty bullish poly market, and I've been degenning on random markets. I bet on like Lord Miles, who's trying to do like a water fast in the desert, and he just rugged like the last week, and I lost like 15K. I'm pretty sad.
That doesn't sound great. I mean, how is it being a poly market influencer versus a DeFi farmer, which was your previous life?
I feel like prediction markets has very little competition when it comes to content, because like there's like no one else doing it. So I feel like I have an angle there. But on like the DeFi front, I'm farming USD AI. Justin's bullish that. Lighter, super bullish Lighter. So pretty optimistic, the Lighter airdrop, the USDI airdrop. I feel like it's going to cook. So,
yeah, I mean, the PerpDex meta has been on fire lately. I think Lighter announced their mainnet. Obviously, Aster, which was the CZ-backed coin, is interesting. There's even Justin Sun, who apparently is getting roasted on the stage in an hour. He has his Sun perp thing.
Yeah.
Maybe we should start roasting him early, before, just to kind of warm up the room for Justin Sun's stuff. Dim, are you seeing how are you seeing this new fight? Anything interesting?
What do you mean, about the market or Justin
No,
Sun's,
the dexes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's we talked a little bit about it on the panel yesterday. I think it's a meta that can't last for too long.
I don't know. Like, some people get super excited. I mean, everybody, watch out if this guy right here comes up to you.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna ask to buy your Lighter points, or if you have any Lighter points. So run away, because he's very insistent. He might. You've been finding people to buy from.
For the last 2 weeks, I've been in every group chat I know trying to buy points. I'm trying to buy them at about $50 now, about a 2.5 bill FDV implied. Extraordinarily bullish Lighter. I use it a ton. I think it's just an extremely competent team. And
what's your average on Lighter now, given what you've bought and what you've gotten on points?
Average on how many points I have?
Yeah, because you've bought now.
Unfortunately, I'm at 2,700 total points, but probably nothing compared to you guys, professional traders. But
so $50 a point, and you're saying 2.5 billion FDV, and that's based on some assumption on what percentage they would airdrop. So we had the Hyperliquid airdrop. That was a rather chunky one. That was like 30-ish%.
Yeah. So from everything I know, and obviously it's not confirmed, the airdrop is going to range roughly between 25 to 30%.
What is that based on? Just like, okay,
it's vibes.
Information.
We're just hoping. We're just hoping. I see Cooper here laughing. Okay, so Justin is hoping for 25-30% airdrop.
Seems reasonable.
Oh, you just did this.
We got the thumbs up.
Got the thumbs up.
But I think it's super exciting. I tell people now, if you're going to trade, you should trade on Lighter because you're getting paid to do so and there's zero fees. Obviously, there's other costs, but I don't see why you wouldn't use that exchange.
It's getting a bit interesting because, the Hyperliquid side, it feels like they're feeling a little bit of pressure. We're seeing signs of a new season coming.
Yeah.
Obviously, we had these NFT drops. It was pretty cool. They put a lot of effort into it. So we had the Monad cards. Those were super nice. They took your CT profile and, I don't know, AI Ghiblified it or something. And then apparently, so I didn't realize this, but the Hyperliquid NFTs, in cases where they knew what the wallet was, they did customize it. So I didn't realize, but our main wallet one is it's like a puff dragon cat.
Really?
So it's like actually a dragon cat. I was like, okay, I can't sell it now. Like, you're forcing me to hold this. Never gonna sell it. There was another one where the guy's wearing like a bucket hat and playing poker, and that was very reminiscent of my World Series photo.
Yeah.
I didn't get that one. Maybe they thought it was me. I don't know. It's not me. Did you get one?
I got one, but it wasn't. It was like not farmer
They don't know. They haven't tagged the
Yeah,
wallet.
yeah, yeah. I didn't
Okay.
dox that wallet, but
Okay.
it is what it is. I'm not making the mistake though. I sold my hype at like $13, like the airdrop, but this one I'm not gonna sell.
Not gonna sell.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
Diamond hands.
Let's talk about markets a little bit. Let's start with.
Yeah, can we get the slides up?
Let's get the slides up.
I mean, I think the first thing we should realize is it's GOP season. It's the guaranteed October pump that we see every year with crypto, which is exciting. I'm extremely excited for Q4. We can talk a little bit more about cycles, but I want to be mostly out by January. If I have to rebuy higher, that's fine. But just trying to enjoy Q4 now and take profit. I refuse to be a community member of Ethereum again. I can't round trip one more time. I'm done.
So okay, yeah, you're right. It's been a few years where October we kind of shoot up.
Yeah.
Each year we get a little bit of an AI season just before Christmas. That seems to be when we get the AI meta. And then by January, I mean, last time it was Melania kind of bringing down the tower.
Yeah, the second tower.
We'll see what token does it this time.
Yeah. Look at the prices though. It's all pumping.
Quite green.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So it looks like Bitcoin's getting back to 120. It doesn't make any sense that Bitcoin is under 120 in my opinion. I mean, we'll show the gold chart, but
yeah,
gold has done tremendously well. This is like. What is it up on the year, gold?
It's like close to 50%. And the funny thing is that Bitcoin related to gold is down 20. Right?
Unexpected.
After all these DATs,
after
all this buy pressure that came from TradFi, we're still down 20%.
But isn't that something you guys as professional traders would expect? You have sort of the safe havens lead, and then as everything does really well and it's a bullish environment, we go down the risk curve. And Bitcoin certainly is down the risk curve from gold. So isn't this expected and actually quite bullish?
I'm a little bit surprised. I think the unexpected thing that's happened is that there's been some just ancient Chinese whales. I don't know if they're miners or just OGs. Selling billions and billions at a time, which I think has slowed down the chart. Otherwise, I think the orange pony is destined to be the fastest.
I mean, specifically like last week when we had the crazy drop while KBW, it was a Chinese whale that sold a couple billion over Monday to Friday, right? Pretty aggressively, just went to all the desks, quoted hard and just like dipped the market to sub 110. So I think that's maybe a reason, and if we don't see any more of those, I think, I feel quite good about Bitcoin with gold performing so well here over the next like month or two.
And do you think that like gold pumping raises the ceiling for Bitcoin? If people do like the relative valuations of,
I mean, where's gold now? It's like 25 trillion. Bitcoin's like a tenth of that. I don't see why the percentage shouldn't be higher.
No one's going to flinch if Bitcoin goes to 150.
Right.
They'll just say, okay, this was a logical catch-up trade.
Literally, yeah.
I don't know about ETH. I mean, Justin, you've been clipping a little bit. I think you managed to catch some of the top, the local top. I don't know if it's.
I sold the perfect top. Unfortunately, just 5%.
Yeah.
But I've sold 15% of my ETH now, and I'm hoping to get that number up to 100% through year end. I listened to your talk at KBW. I know you're not into the cycle theory. Personally, I'm not either. It doesn't make any rational sense, but I also just don't want to be around to find out in Q1, Q2, Q3 of next year. Like, I'm happy to buy back higher. Mostly we'll be sticking with Bitcoin from here on out, but I am very excited for Q4, and I think like it's going to be a great time to take profit over the next 3 months for me personally.
Let's look at ETH BTC maybe.
Yeah.
So
it's been tough.
You were saying last year we were at the same point, but the vibe was very different.
Yeah, I think last year, like literally a year ago, ETH BTC was at 0.038, and now it's at roughly 0.036. But we were literally just nuking every single week, and Justin was like just crying every single week. But I mean, now we're at the same levels, and the vibes are completely different. I feel like people think ETH BTC is bottomed. I mean, last cycle, Kyle Samani had like the soul is going to flip ETH thesis, and people thought ETH was going to just go to zero. But
well, something strange has happened, and that's you would think these perpdex platforms would mostly be on Solana rails, but there actually aren't any that have taken off. I think Pacifica is coming soon. Maybe that's something to farm. But it is interesting that Arbitrum specifically has gathered a lot of this financial use case. So we'll see what happens. But that said, I'm still not sticking around.
We're not sticking around.
Yeah.
The thing is,
you sold your ETH, right? Yeah.
I am out of ETH. I'm not going to rebuy until it goes much lower.
Yeah.
and I think, we actually have some really big launches coming. And I think these will drive away flows from Sol, Avalanche, Ethereum, the big ones as people try to rotate and catch the next thing.
Before we move on to the next chart, I just want to, talk about sentiment a little bit because crypto, I mean, everyone's got the, memory of a goldfish. They just look at the recent bars. But, if you imagine...
Getting up.
Okay. So imagine this was the price chart and it was just flat. It would be fine. People wouldn't even care.
Yeah.
Now we just remember this.
No, I remember everything. Jordi. I remember every single day.
Okay. So my point is, like, you see the Plasma launch.
Yes.
By all means, this is a tremendously successful launch. I mean, the private round was at 500 and it's trading at, near 10 billion. I think Plasma launched, at 80 cents and it's at like 90 cents. If it had just gone flat, people would be euphoric.
Yeah.
But because it went first up and then down, it's like everyone's crying. If it had gone down to 50 and then back to 90, people will be like jubilant. So it's just so ridiculous how, like you said, it's just so short term. Everyone's just remembering, except for you. You remember everything.
Every single day. It was horrible. I can't do it again. I refuse. So the plan now is hopefully, I mean, if everything goes well, sell over the next 3 months, and then I'd love to buy Bitcoin half off next year and start to DCA in half off next year would be amazing. I don't know if I'll get it, but we were almost
half off from these prices?
From wherever we end up, which I think we might go to like 150. But I mean, people, like you said, memory of a goldfish. Literally like 3 or 4 months ago, Bitcoin basically went like 40% off the highs. There's no reason to say that won't happen next year. So
Indeed, went down.
See, I mean, the Fed's cutting for a reason, right? The economy is slowing down. I mean, you guys are more experts on that than me.
You still believe in the 4-year cycle thesis? Because you're trading based on that kind of, like the time frames you're giving us here.
Yeah. I don't really have an opinion on it, but crypto is super reflexive. Everything has played out exactly as the cycles have so far. And while I agree it's completely illogical, I just don't want to be the guy that's sticking around to find out and hold ETH 80% down. Like I can't do it.
Let's look at Sol. I mean,
enough is enough. You got to take profit. Enough is enough.
So Taiki, tell us about this one.
Yeah. So like I said earlier, like last year, the narrative was ETH is dead, Solana's gonna flip Ethereum. But if you zoom out, when Kalasamani had like the Sol is gonna flip ETH's speech, Sol ETH was at 0.057. It's a little cut off now, but right now Sol ETH is like roughly 0.051. So it's actually trading lower than, and I also talked to so many fund managers last year. It's like they just sold all their ETH, they're like all in Solana. So you got to fade that type of sentiment,
I think, what Dim said is true. There's a lot of new things. People love speculating on new launches more than any other game. Like out of all the casino games in crypto, people betting on, what's something going to launch at, like these pre-launch things. It's so popular. It's like the most exciting thing because I guess it has the most volatility. And that's kind of bearish for older coins.
Yeah.
Solana was the new cool thing. Hyperliquid was the new cool thing. And then, people sort of want to get that volatility and speculate on the new stuff.
So I'd say that this is a good time to think about these opportunistic shorts versus the new launches and versus Bitcoin because the DAT trade is basically kind of, I mean, maybe we talk about this more later, but the DAT trade is basically kind of over in terms of getting like the big flows. You're not going to see like 1 or 2 billion coming into a DAT, at least by the end of this year. So, you've had these flows coming, and now it's time to just, reckon with the downside, at least on these alts, I'd say, for many reasons.
So what do you think the new coins could be? I mean, do you think it's something like a stable chain like Plasma or Stable? Do you think it's these new perp dexes? Do you guys have any thoughts on what's coming down the pipeline that we should be looking at?
Like a year ago, right? No one predicted AI season, but October 7th, Truth Terminal comes out. Go, we pump, and it creates a meta for 3 months. So I feel like, like the existing coins feels kind of cooked. None of these new launches can get above 15 bill, 20 bill FDV, and then people start selling perps and like dumping. So I think this is like time. This is a time to just be really, really locked in and be attentive and just be ready to ape whatever new meta. Because with Plasma, Astra, people are really, really desperate to just like punt something new, right? So the capital's there, the money's there, but
the money is really there. I mean, that was one of the lessons from Korea as well. Is like the retail bid for new launches is 100% higher than ever it was before. I think the difference now is, people are learning the tricks, and the game is becoming a little bit predatory again. We are back to the low float, high FDV thing all over again. And, this was a big topic of conversation, I think, last year. Nobody's bringing it up now. Now they just want the token to go up, and they're willing to accept whatever low float stuff you want to do.
But it is a little reflective in how long the narratives are sticking, though, because like everyone I know that's logging the hot new coin has no plans to stick around for the usual 1-year cliff for early investors, team, etc. I think people are actually a lot more aware. They just realize, like Taiki said, people want to pile into that new launch. It's exciting. It's new coin, good.
Yeah, and to buy the new coins, you have to sell the old coins.
Exactly.
So the old coins are dumping, and then the new coins are pumping.
Yeah.
There's been so few launches in the last 5 years that have been able to sustain through unlocks, like team investor unlocks. Even like a god tier coin like, INA, which has done everything right, and they've gotten all the integrations, and they're doing the revenue and the buybacks. Even the coin like that, once there's just all this constant unlocking, I mean, it's going up and down. It's not doing badly, but like it just shows you that even the ones that are the top are struggling in the unlock period. And I think these low float ones that launched, in the last 11 months, as they start getting into unlocks, it's going to be a bloodbath.
And the interesting thing is, Guy specifically, he said that publicly, that he thinks he over-raised, and he could have achieved everything he's achieved for Athena with 10% of the money from investors. And obviously, if he had only raised 10%, the chart of INA would look completely different.
Right.
It's tough to say. I actually wanted to get your guys' opinion on this. So Hyperliquid is obviously an amazing project. It's the darling right now. But I believe starting in a month and a half or so, there's about between $400 to $500 million of insider unlocks coming on the market. And I wanted to ask you guys, because Jordi, I feel like you have like probably top 5 people with insights into the flows of like how these tokens trade and insider moves and whatnot. Like, does this stuff get priced? Is it priced in now, or is it priced in 50% through the unlocks, like a year in, 2 years in? Like, when should people be worried about this stuff, and when should they start to look to re-enter if they really like the project?
I mean, this is what makes investing in crypto over the long term very difficult. I mean, trading, a lot of people can do well. You find some momentum and you trade it. That's fine. But like doing longer term investing, you mentioned this Hyperliquid unlock. There's a very small team. I imagine they're pretty tight.
11 people, yeah.
They're probably not going to just be like insta dumping, all their unlocks. On the other hand, this is a huge amount of money for engineer number 5 or 6, and
they deserve it too. They built something amazing. They deserve it.
So you have to imagine that there's going to be some amount. They're going to control it.
Yeah.
But, people are not sure. Did you see this interesting proposal by I think it was Hasu?
Yes.
So actually, I spoke to Jeff before they launched the token, gave him a brain dump of all my tokenomics ideas. And the thing I did suggest him was actually exactly what Hasu was proposing. Just release enough tokens for the airdrop and for what you need, and then just do the rest through emissions. I think it makes sense. No one's really tried it yet. I think their proposal makes sense.
Well, it makes sense, especially in the context of the assistance fund too, right? They've bought back so many tokens, they're in profit on them. That could also be used for community incentives down the line as well.
Yeah, and the thing it helps with is like you look at market cap, FDV, what's cheap, what's expensive. No one has any clue. I mean, I spend a lot of time just trying to decipher like what is actual float, what kind of pieces are going to enter or not enter the market. And, to do it, I need to spend a lot of time and have a lot of conversations. So for most people, it's not achievable to be able to do that. And I think that makes, crypto very hard to allocate to for more than just a trade.
Yeah. That's why I think over many cycles, everyone turns into Bitcoin maxis slowly.
Yes.
And then opportunistic traders.
Just on that, if you guys think that, Bitcoin goes to like 150 by end of year, I don't see why you would hold ETH or Sol or anything like that as beta. Like if you want to,
Well, I mean, Bitcoin dominance has been in a downtrend for a couple months now. It's down pretty significantly. It's recovered a bit, but it is down, and I actually do think it will. We're not going to have an alt season where everything goes up, but I do think ETH will outperform Bitcoin over the next 3 months, and Sol will probably outperform ETH, and Hype will probably outperform Sol.
Yeah. It's not because I would say that the counter argument to that is that that's because of the DATs that are kind of like tapering off, and that I would say that I'd say if you want like exposure to beta or just more exposure than 1x delta long for Bitcoin, you just add a little bit of leverage.
Yeah, 30% leverage. It's probably as good as holding ETH.
Yeah, every time I try to long a beta, I realize I am the beta.
Long the alpha.
You are the beta.
I am the
Oh,
beta.
no.
Yeah.
All right, let's get another slide. What do we got?
Yeah.
Last year. This was the speech that broke all speeches. 400,000 views on a token speech. Where are we now?
No, like I feel like Justin and I talked about this before, like doing this, but I feel like this was like the most important speech over like the past 12 months. I think it got everyone thinking about altcoins differently. That most of these altcoins are just overvalued and they're all just meme coins at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So you don't want to hold them. You just want to trade them.
Yeah, it was interesting. I think, I don't know if anyone saw Alex Good's talk here yesterday. I think it was, at least so far, the best talk I've seen. Oh. And he basically said Murad was completely correct. There is this new social component here. We should think of every token as a meme coin. Obviously, hyperliquid revenues and these coins that actually generate returns are a little different. But we should think of these as communities rallying around their coins. And he said Murad is totally right, but he got the coins wrong. Of course, it worked out for him, but he thinks the new coins are like Ripple, World Liberty Fi, things where there's like a political interest or a large community backing and a legacy backing over the last several years, which I thought was interesting. And the talk will probably be on YouTube, but definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I'm a short World Liberty Fi, so maybe I should cover.
I think where Alex is right is that, Murad basically talked about this meme coin thesis that obviously is right? Like we are in the moonshot generation. People want to, be part of the next 100,000x and believe in something. I think, by the way, Murad, thanks Murad. He showed this to me. He sold that SPX to me last year in Singapore.
Are you still a holder? Or?
You believe in the Philippines?
Unfortunately, not part of the cult. But I think.
But I heard there's a DAT coming.
I think there is a DAT coming.
Okay.
Yeah. There is a DAT coming.
A DAT for
Alex is taking this to the next level where he's like, okay, we've done the pure memes, right? Now memetics is just elevating and you're adding another component to it, which is either fundamentals or like a different story that people can get behind. I haven't watched the speech, but I've talked to Alex a lot about it.
So let's see if Alex Good's speech is the next
Murad
for this year.
Yeah.
What else we got? Is that meta over? I mean, we're very much towards the tail end. I think even the DATs that the coin has done well, the equity is trading not amazing. Like BNB stuff like this, the token's done great. That is not doing so well. So that's usually a sign that it's almost over. I'm still hearing people wanting to allocate to new ones. There's always this hope that the new thing was going to launch super high for some reason. People still want to gamble into these DATs just the same they want to gamble into, TGEs.
Another interesting data point about DATs is that, I've talked to a lot of funds that have been deploying in this. There are a couple super smart guys, like Joe Nager from Republic and a couple other guys that have made a ton of money there and are successful. Most of the funds that have actually allocated DATs and I thought were reasonably early to the trade are near break even on this whole thing because it's a power law. Like a couple of these DAT trades ended up being super successful, like the MNRs, but all that stuff. Most have been like complete fumbles. So I think if the people that are deploying capital to DATs are seeing their books after like 3-4 months of just like obsessing over them and seeing like 0 as a P&L or nearly negative, they're not going to deploy again.
Yeah. For me, this is one of the catalysts that makes me bearish. Like I'm personally of the mindset that most of these, except for maybe 2 or 3, have to completely die. And I know the structure is not that they're going to be forced to sell the underlying, but I think the narrative is going to be there that there could be some redemption mechanism and there would be sell pressure coming down the line. So I think most of these DATs, I mean, they obviously don't make sense from a fundamental basis. So I do think the meta is dying, and I do think that could be a bear catalyst.
I mean, even if they don't sell, it's just that, a lot of the inflows, instead of going to the token, people are just pitching like, hey, why would you buy the token? Just buy this thing
discounted
at
DAT.
40% off, you get the same exposure theoretically.
I was going to ask, is that in Selini's purview where you would look at something like that and, purchase a DAT at a discount to NAV and then either try to be an activist investor or get involved in some capacity to redeem? Is that something you guys would do or no?
We don't. I mean, the whole activist investor thing, you gotta just do it as your
We'll call Bill Ackman
full-time obsession, and some people are gonna do that, but I would rather stay out of that game and let other people fight legal battles.
Yeah.
There's easier games to play than those ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one, putting the poker analogy, the rake on the game is so high. If you look at these bankers and these insiders and the warrants and like the fees on these things are absurd. Like you might want to see one of these DATs that raise, your average DAT, $200 million DAT, half in kind, half cash. That's a good case scenario. That's like a reasonable situation. Even that one, so 100 million you managed to raise in cash. The lawyer, I mean, when you add all the providers, they're getting 25 million worth, 30. They're draining so much of it. It's worse than even like a meme coin launch.
You're seeing that at close to the top of the funnel as a big entity in this space. For me, the deals that I'm seeing are like you can participate in this SPV in a DAT, and you're buying at 1.06 MNAV, and there's a 20% carry on top. I've passed on all of them, but it's crazy how it just trickles down.
The DAT SPVs are, if a DAT has to go and do an SPV, it's not a good DAT, most likely. I'll just say that.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, of course, a few of them are still popular. We have, Tom Lee, the Orbs one, the WorldCoin one.
Yeah.
The CNBC audience, they love hearing about, AI and Sam Altman. So maybe that one makes sense. I think a few of them do make sense, but most of them don't. And yeah, the DAT meta is near over, I hope.
Yeah.
If we're unlucky enough to have a bear market next year, would you be looking to buy MSTR at a discount as opposed to Bitcoin? I think we saw a pretty significant 15 to 20% discount last bear market. It was obviously an exceptional bear market, but
it's really hard to know, like you said, if anyone's going to be willing to sell underlying tokens. The ones that are willing to, if it's an altcoin, it'll probably not be able to take a lot of liquidity because these things are not very liquid. If it's BTC or ETH, maybe. Maybe somebody can clip a few Bitcoin and buy back the stock and repeg it. So we'll have to see. But I think only for those two assets.
Yeah. All right, maybe next topic. So I think we kind of touched on this, but maybe Justin, you believe in the 4-year cycle, right? And Jordi.
Yeah, I think Justin is being cautious. I think I'm not. I'm just I'm assuming that we're in the super cycle
for Bitcoin though, right? Not for other alts or select alts.
For crypto, and then alts will rotate pretty heavily one after the other.
Okay, so if that's true, what are some things that we as just retail, the audience here, myself obviously included, what should we be looking at to know whether we're going to have a 75% drawdown on Bitcoin next year, or if it's something that we can feel comfortable holding through the next several years, through the Trump administration, et cetera? What are the signals that we can pick on before just things just dumping quicker than we can respond?
That's a really good question. So for me, there's only one signal I'm looking for, and I'm not seeing it, so just to be clear. So the one signal is actual liquidity tightening. And, if you remember ECB 2015, when the Germans were okay, we are going to tighten the belt. The Americans are just not capable. The debt's too high. I don't see it happening. But when inflation does get a little bit too out of control, and you mentioned real estate to me backstage, when things that most people use and buy, if the price is going up too fast, that's the sign. Because when they start complaining, then they do have to tighten liquidity and keep prices moderated. When people start talking about things are getting too expensive and real estate and complaining, it probably 6 months later, it sort of flows down all the way to the Fed, and then liquidity dries up.
Isn't this happening already?
Well,
everyone I talk to says prices are too high.
So we had a little bit after COVID, there was the boom, and then of course that was the year after we did kind of obviously we had the 2022 bear market in crypto. It aligned perfectly, and I think it was because of that reason. Right now, no one's talking about it, so for the foreseeable 6 months plus, I don't think there's any concern around like liquidity draining. And the fact that we have stocks all-time high, gold all-time high, you know, random stuff is popping off everywhere. We're just not there.
So you're more worried about such a bullish environment that the government and the Fed has to tighten liquidity than you are the downturn, which is what the Fed is signaling is happening. You think either they're wrong or they're misdirecting us?
No, I think there could be a downturn in employment, especially, you know, with AI that might get worse, but it's not going to affect financial assets. It doesn't matter. Like the people that are buying, you know, premium like assets are not the people losing their jobs. It's like the massive wealth managers that are just allocating from the printing press.
Yeah, so for context, at this conference, then people come up to me at different events, and the number one thing they ask me is, what is your thoughts on Jordi's take that our money is being debased at about, I think you'd said 10 to 15% per year? My take is that's not the case. The treasury market's just barely over 4%. You think it is the case? I mean, how do you reconcile that the market is accepting 4.1% or whatever it is yield for 10 years, and you think the real yield should be 10, 15%, something like that?
I'm not saying the real yield should be that. Like if someone is passive and they're just buying treasuries and waiting 10 years to get 4% a year, they're gonna get hella diluted, and they like, I don't want to say they deserve it, but I'm not saying like treasuries should give them the whole return. Like you will get diluted if you're just giving your money to the most passive instrument there is. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't think that basics are being inflated at 15% a year, but I think, you know, scarce goods, like people's scarce time, things like this are inflating much quicker. I mean, you see that with some of the like, you know, employment packages.
But I guess going back on
like, take like what's like an elite engineer or an elite quant making,
yeah,
you know, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. It's going up so exponentially, and you know, I think
the value is accruing to a smaller subset of people.
But even those people, because they're very specialized, you really want to hire them. The amount you have to pay is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And you know, I track the quant trading firms like Jump, HRT, Citadel, Jane Street. You know, I get the recruiters sending me all their numbers, like how much they're up year to date. It's going up by 15% a year. Like, you know, Jump was making 1 billion. The next year they're making 2, and it's 4, it's 6. And same with like, you know, HRT, all these other firms. The financial markets are just growing so fast.
Is the easiest way to track this for people like myself to look at S&P growth or real estate growth? Well, how would you look at that if you're just me and you don't have this sort of inside information on what the most talented people in the world are getting comped at?
I mean, real estate is a bit of a, you know, a unique. It's more like an NFT. So you're like, you know, do you want to look at the NFT market to see if it's a bull market? I mean, sometimes it correlates, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. But I guess going back on this topic, let me ask you, Dim. You're just smirking over there. Do you believe in cycles, or you think it's a meme?
To be honest, like I never understood that concept too well. I never made decisions based on it. I think specifically this time, yeah, we are in a super cycle kind of environment for Bitcoin, I think. Like gold hasn't been doing anything since like 2011 till 2022. It didn't break 2000, and it's now like 3,800. You know, that to me signals a real shift in where value is flowing, and Bitcoin will capture a bit of that, and hopefully it takes our shitcoins up with it. Yeah. So I'm not really playing. I'm not really making decisions on a cycle.
Yeah.
Like, for your cycle kind of thesis. No.
What about you, Taiki?
I think I believe, or I agree with Bitcoin. I just think that things like Ethereum and Solana, at any given point, they can dump 70% if shit hits the fan. And I can't realistically, like, I mean, ETH is like a $500 billion asset, right? Like, can I reasonably expect ETH to hit $1 trillion? Not really. So what's the upside? What's the downside? So I'm just, at this point in the cycle, if there are cycles.
Sorry, because you said something important. I think it might. It's possible that it does if Bitcoin also like 2x's plus. But it's when you're making a trade and you're picking Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, whatever else, you need to understand the other factors. Like, is it the same asymmetric bet that you're taking with Bitcoin if you go and take it on ETH or Solana? Like, is it as, can you get exposure in a way where, is it as liquid, to get in and out? It's not. Like, there are many factors you need to consider. As you said, when Bitcoin sneezes, these coins just die. Do you really want to hold that over the longer term? Or just, buy Bitcoin and try to kind of trade it around if you really want to get extra?
I just think I need to buy more Bitcoin. And also farm.
And farm. Farming is good.
Yeah, farming is printing recently.
You've been doing good.
Yeah.
What do we got next? Anyone big on equity, DEX, perp DEX stuff? I mean, that's
equity DEX?
People are talking about it.
Super exciting. I mean, we'll see if there's product market fit there. I think it makes sense. I think everything can be a perp. But I do think that the open question to me is like, is there an overlap on degens that know how to use perp DEXs and also want magnified exposure on equities? Like, what's the overlap there?
I think it's the Robinhood users that are probably going to have to be the ones that kind of dog food it and see if it's something that it will expand.
I have a question, Jordi. What do you think of Aster?
It's an interesting product. I mean, look, obviously, like, product in PerpDex matters when you're a user and less when you're trying to just speculate. I think if CZ was acquiring Vertex back when Vertex was like, we had Alwyn in like our first season on early days, their product was actually tremendously good. I'll just say that if that was the golden child that was chosen and they had acquired that tech, I actually think that it would have, made a lot more sense and the valuation might be sustainable. But look, I mean, they'll keep trying to improve it. Obviously, Bybit's trying to do the same thing now with Apex. I think OKX is trying to ride the meta, and the quality is difficult. Making a perp DEX is trickier than any other DeFi product. I really like all these edge cases that exist on funding rates and exploits and liquidations. You have to auto deleverage people. It's not an easy thing to do. The people who do it well that we've seen, like Vlad from Lighter and Jeff Hyperliquid, these are like, HFT traders, quants. They really understand the microstructure. And I think there's very few builders that have that. And if you don't, the PerpDex product sometimes is a bit janky.
At the conference, everyone has been telling me that market makers are in some ways racing to integrate with Aster because there's a lot of soft flow there. Is that, I mean, can you speak to that? Is that something you've had to do? And is that reflexive in that you guys onboard deeper liquidity, more retail coming in, incentives, and then this can become a real thing?
No, I mean, that's a good question. There's two reasons why, Selini will integrate a DEX, and there's so many of these. So we have to, choose our cycles carefully because we only have, so many engineers. Is there a ton of really good retail flow? And is there like some big points program airdrop thing? So Aster, like as soon as it got so big, we immediately had to integrate because, if they airdrop 4% and it's 10 billion, that's 400 million airdrop. If we can try to capture like, a few percent of that, we're willing to, burn some fees and do what it takes. Other exchanges, they might have really good retail. Obviously, Hyperliquid at this point is one of our largest exchanges that we trade. Wow. It's one of our most profitable exchanges. There's no points. So that vision of like, bring the retail and the market makers will bring the liquidity is true. It's played out. And yeah, Aster, we kind of did it more for the points. I don't know if the retail will keep using it.
With the new perp DEXs like Lighter and the other points point systems, have you seen like less activity on Hyperliquid, like relative to other exchanges? Do you think that's a risk for Hype, or do you think that's like a short-term thing that once the points are out, or tokens airdrops, it's gonna like die? Most of them.
It definitely slows it down a little bit. Obviously, the momentum is still strong. Even things like Pump Fun. I mean, people moved off of Solana. The trenches died. Everyone just moved to like BNB to do all this, BNB season gambling. And still, Pump Fun still has the, every day it makes $1 million+ and it just keeps pumping out. And the same with Hyperliquid. I mean, even if people move around a bit, there's still a sustainable business and a product. It hasn't gone to zero.
Nice.
What do we got?
Now we have pastas.
Okay, let's do some pastas. Who's going first?
I think it's me. Oh yeah. So sorry, maybe it's too small to see, but last year there was like a DGen summit, and they had all these KOL awards, right? So Avalanche, won best layer 2, right? Congrats. I didn't know they were layer 2. BitBoy, best video content creator.
Isn't this the one? I thought it was like Professor Crypto won won the award.
He's not part of the screenshot, but he also won best KOL of the year. So I was kind of salty.
2 years running, right?
Deserved.
You won this
Well
year?
deserved.
And this year, Professor Crypto,
Oh, he's back.
he's back 2 years in a row.
Oh my
KOL of
God.
the year. He did it. He is the best KOL of the year. According to the DGen Summit, Monad is the best layer 2 apparently. Frank,
Best
the
layer
Gods
2?
comeback of the year.
Old Leonidas is the best artist in our space, though.
Who?
Old Leonidas. Jordan's
Yeah.
favorite.
That's true. That's true.
Okay, is this real or fake?
It's
I'm
real.
not sure.
It's real. GG won Trencher of
Why
the
is
year.
Monad best layer 2? They're not a layer 2.
I don't know, man. But I think people pay for this. Scottie Pippen, best 11.
They didn't
crypto.
even space it correct. Oh, it doesn't even have a space between layer and 2.
It's fake. It's fake. Okay.
That was my pasta.
troll. It's a troll.
I mean,
troll.
this DGen Summit thing is ridiculous, but yeah. All right, second pasta?
Second pasta. Yeah, so this was some interesting FUD. People love to FUD in crypto. It's not external from crypto. It's part of the DNA and the sport is to FUD. It is such a fundamental thing. And if people don't have a good reason to FUD, they'll just come up with reasons to FUD. So the Plasma team, we kind of showed the chart. If it had just gone a different way, people would be happy. But now they're looking for like, oh my God, it dumped a little bit back to 10 billion. What's going on? And the FUD that they came out with, out of the 50 people on the team, there's a couple people that used to work at Blast, right, with Pac-Man.
Right.
And I guess that that didn't go very well. And so the FUD is, this is the same team as Blast, and therefore, this is going to be the same chart.
It's going to end the same way.
And when I saw this, I just burst out laughing because this is, of course, the guy from Inglorious Bastards who's like, I guess he's like looking for the Jews. And instead, they're looking for the employees. Where's the employees of Blast? He's like, you're hiding the Blast team members. Are you not hiding them? So this is the ridiculous FUD of crypto. This was hilarious.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah. You're long Plasma, right?
I had an order set at 888. I thought Asia would bid it. I got filled. It was close to the low. I'm still holding. I haven't checked the price in a few minutes, but I think it's a little under $1 now, which is good. And I like it. Salsa Tequila shielded me that trade, and
it's funny. I think a year or two ago, like you were just like this mid-curve deep, like ETH maxi, but like he's been trenching really hard, and he's
always been willing to get in there.
Yeah.
I touch everything that's new. I try to explore.
Yeah.
Which I think relates to my pasta next.
All right.
So I missed the hype airdrop, which is terrible. And like when you miss something so life-changing, I have a ton of friends that made 8-figure airdrops, literally made it, and have held it since then and are now just starting to take profit. And this is very tilting, obviously. I've been holding ETH. I think it was $4,000 in January. It's a little more than $4,000 today, but in between, hype ran from $4 to $14, and I was holding ETH as it went down from 4,000 to 1,400. So of course, the thing I'm doing is looking for the next perp dex. Lighter is great, we love it, but Lighter is now very crowded. It's hard to farm there, so you keep going down the risk curve. I'm like cross-farming with high leverage 10 different perp dexes, and I came across this meme, don't give up before you hit the diamonds, but perhaps the diamonds are all around me and I'm just digging through dirt.
Yeah, you should just buy Bitcoin maybe, You're just digging through the perp dex.
Seems expensive, I don't know.
Yeah, you're not early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do we got
for Dim?
I mean, I guess this speaks for itself. Yeah. Basically, it tells you that there have been thousands and thousands and thousands of coins launched on Pump Fund, and there's only been like sub 50 that are above 10 mil. That sounds insane. I mean, it just shows that the extraction culture is so strong in the trenches. I guess props to the Pump Fund team. They had amazing PMF, and they're doing something that's quite interesting on the streaming side. But that really shows you like how much extraction there is on the trenches and how this is really a rotation game. And I guess unless you bought Filecoin and Peanut and a few other coins, you're probably down on the rest.
Some people that bought Fartcoin ended up round tripping too, unfortunately.
That is true.
I mean, the only thing that keeps the trenches going is when there's something that comes up like Trump, which brings in money from outside the trenches into the trenches, and then they kind of feast on it for a while. I think people had a little bit of hope that Kanye's coin, the Yeezy coin, would have done that. It did not do that at all. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. They just kind of
based on that, we were talking about this yesterday a bit. So I looked up the coins that have achieved like high circulating market cap, and With was one of them. Naturally, Ansem did his magic. I mean, it went up there. Hyperliquid and Trump, like these three coins have been at the top in terms of circulating supply. So that speaks volumes in itself, I think.
Once you get past the billion of circulating, it really starts to slow down.
Yeah, I really believed in Fartcoin, but I had to die. Yeah.
There'll be a new
and now
one
I'm
soon.
back to mid-curving and farming,
All right, guys, we have a few more minutes. We wanted to do what we did last year, which is pass the mics around if anyone has any questions for the lads, just before the Justin Sun roast starts.
I wonder if he's back there.
Let's see if we have any questions, and we can get some mic runners out.
Don't be shy.
Yeah. Anything? Otherwise, I'm going to start the Justin Sun roast.
I have some extras.
You remember when he like there was the Credit Suisse UBS thing?
Yeah.
One of those. Was it Credit? Who was going under? Credit Suisse was going under. Or
I
UBS?
think it was Credit Suisse.
Credit Suisse was going under.
And he offered a bid, right?
Yeah, like they were like UBS was trying to buy it for $2 billion. Then I just remember he tweets, "Hey guys, I'll buy it. Let me buy Credit Suisse. I'll put a bid in." So he likes to get involved in anything going on. Soon there's going to be a Steady Sun Lads, show coming out. Let's see.
Looks like everyone's too shy.
No questions.
It's all right. We have some final topics.
Okay, final topics.
Oh, yeah. So
What's this?
tomorrow we're going to have a meetup event, 10 a.m. That's the Luma link right there, luma.com/bunch of letters. So, if you want to meet the lads, have some more personal conversations, please come. It is like 10 a.m. Coffee, no alcohol, so don't worry.
Unfortunately, no Thicky. Thicky sends his regards.
Yeah, Thicky.
We've got Thicky 2.0.
Thicky 2.0.
Yeah.
Actually, we're going to do an episode soon with Thicky and Dim. I don't think we've had them both in the same room. They've never been in the same room together. So we're going to do one with all five of us. I talked to Thicky yesterday. He's game.
Oh, really?
So that'll be a bit of a Chad one. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, guys, come tomorrow, hang out. We'll buy you some croissants or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. The room is ready for the comedian. Let's end it here. Thank you, guys.
All right. Sounds good.